Hey, what's up, guys? This is NorbCam coming at you. Nice to see some of you already in here. It has been a long time since I've done one of these driving videos. I used to do them all the time because I was spending most of my days driving from one point to the other. Obviously, since we've had this whole pandemic thing, I haven't driven a whole lot, but today was a rare time on an early Monday. I had to get my car, take it in, the NorbCam van in for service. So I figured I got some time to kill my ride home. So why not jump on here and chat with you guys a little bit and see how you guys are doing. Not a whole lot of news going on from what I could tell so far on this slow Monday news morning as far as the football since NFL is concerned. We're talking about the Seahawks and the Patriots matchup now that Cam Newton's on the squad. That game is just become much more interesting at this point. But we'll see. So many question marks as to whether the season will even be in place. I would love to be at that game. I have tickets to that game, obviously, as a season ticket holder. But whether we'll actually be in the stands is yet to be determined. It seems like the more I keep looking at the situation, it feels the more likely that nobody will be in the stands. And I think they'll still have games, but a stadium with a bunch of people, even at 50%, how are they going to make that work? How are they going to decide who gets to go? That's crazy. John Dunham, hey, talking about Nine in the super chat, says he watched Knives Out. Still a great movie. I wanted to talk about this. This is totally not football related, so sorry if you guys wanted to talk football. I decided I don't want to talk about football this morning. Just talking about something more fun, casual, and talking about just movies. One of the few good things about this pandemic, as I see you guys already putting suggestions in the chat, and I appreciate it, has been the time I've spent with my family. If this was a normal time right now and nothing had changed, we would be in Dallas right now for Nationals girls volleyball, and we would have traveled a whole bunch of other places during the spring. The spring is usually a really crazy time for volleyball, and because of all that, it just would completely went the opposite. So I gotta admit, as much as I miss what we would be doing right now, playing volleyball, it has been fun having to slow down and just a pause, kind of some quality time home, watching movies. And man, it's been a blast watching some of these movies. Some of the ones that were always on my wish list of movies to watch with my kids that I just never thought I'd get around to. So I'm just going to shoot a bunch of them off in answer to the super chat that was just now mentioned. Knives Out, I enjoyed it. Wish I'd seen it in the theater. I did not, but I watched it with a bunch of my friends, and then watched it a week or two ago with my family. They loved it. It makes me want to find more whodunit type movies. So I realized there's not a lot of movies like that where you got to kind of piece together all that kind of stuff. There are a few, but I'm still trying to figure out good ones that my kids can watch. Last night we just started watching the Jason Bourne series, not the TV show, but the original with Matt Damon that came out in the 90s. I believe it was in the 90s, like 99 or 2000 or 2002, and which is a long time ago. I've been married as long as that movie came out, but my kids haven't watched a lot of those action thrillers, so it was great to introduce them to it, and it's got some great stuff. I hadn't seen it in so long. Great fight choreography, just gritty, so they liked it, and definitely looking forward to watching a couple more of those to finish out the series. And watching movies with my family is kind of funny because my oldest daughter, Sophie, she'll pretty much watch anything. She's easy. My youngest daughter, she's a lot more picky. She always wants to watch more modern stuff. Teen drama, suspense, action. That's what she would want in every movie, but not every movie is a teen horror, suspense, action kind of film. So sometimes I'll pull up an oldie but goodie, but then she'll argue and say, without even knowing what the movie's about, I don't think I want to see that. So it's often a challenge trying to find something we can all agree on. But I had to get into the Bourne series. It was fun pulling out other movies that have been, quote, older movies. She's not a big fan of the older movies. Donnie Pearson said the Bad Boys trilogy. I have never been a big fan of the Bad Boys trilogy. Then again, I've never watched past number one. Might have to re-explore that one. But here's some classics that I've never thought in a million years we'd get to. Silence of the Lambs. My kids are really getting into they're really into horror movies, which is great because someday I will show them my horror film, which for those of you who don't know, I actually wrote and directed a horror film distributed by Lionsgate called Frayed, F-R-A-Y-E-D, and you can get it online and on all your usual places. So I'm gearing up to when I show it to them. It's got some disturbing stuff in there, so it's not a movie I could just, I was ready to show them, but I'm trying to work them up to it so when they watch it, they'll be prepared. So we watched Silence of the Lambs. Nick LeBeau, what's up? Did I hear Colin Kaepernick is doing a Netflix series? I think it's about his high school years. Yeah, I saw the notification that, speaking of movies, Colin Kaepernick is going to be the feature of a Netflix, I guess a documentary. Man, talking about things working out, working out well for Colin Kaepernick. Really, with all the backlash he received over the last 4 years, everything's kind of come full circle for him. And chances are now the climate seems to be very good that some team eventually is going to sign him. More and more signs of teams inquiring about him. And obviously now it's, as opposed to the last 4 years, he was kind of like kryptonite. No team would want to touch him. But now it's more with the things are right now. He's actually going to bring probably a lot of positive attention. Positive depending on what side you stand on, but definitely a lot of media attention to a team in a more positively viewed way than it was 4 years ago. So some team's going to land him, and the team's just got to be ready for the circus. There's going to be people wanting to see what's going on with him on their team, even if it is as a backup. But going back to the point, horror films. So we've got Silence of the Lambs, which actually they weren't even that scared. That was an Oscar win back in '91. What other oldies? I showed him one of my favorites, Braveheart. That was one of my favorites of all time. Showed him that. We watched Rain Man. They enjoyed that one. I didn't know how to take to it, but that's a great movie. What else? I don't have my list in front of me, so I don't have it readily available. But we watched The Gladiator. That's a good one. What was it? Try to show my youngest one, my skeptical one, Terminator 1, and she got bored. I was so disappointed. She got bored and didn't even get to the good stuff, and she was just like, can we watch something else? So they made it past Terminator. I think Terminator 2 was better, and then from that point on, Terminator 2 to me is the best of all the Terminator bunches. Terminator 1 is great because of its introduction of Arnold Schwarzenegger as a Terminator, but it's definitely dated. Effects are pretty cheesy, especially at the end when they got the stop motion robot walking around. That's hard to get past compared to the slick effects nowadays. The kids, of course, have been watching a lot of their stuff on Netflix. They're up to date on the 13 Reasons Why. They just finished that series. Let's see, what am I playing on? You guys, how? Dark Fate. Still haven't seen Dark Fate. I don't know about. Oh, Dark Fate, the Terminator one. That's right. Yeah, it kind of started to lose its luster. I saw the last one, if that's the one. Is that the last one where Linda Hamilton came back? It wasn't that great. I don't know. I had a lot of it. I saw it with a bunch of buddies and didn't expect much anyway. Had some cool sequences, but got to a point where after a while, it's just like watching video game violence. It's just like, it just keeps going and going. Ted, that's that was with the talking bear, right? Isn't that one? The theaters haven't reopened yet. Originally they were going to do it end of June, then it was looking like end of July, and now it seems like the theater owners they can't come to an agreement when they want to open. It's a weird time, and there are some movies I'm looking forward to seeing. There's that one that's coming out from Christopher Nolan. Tenet, I think is what it's called. Looks awesome. Every time I see a trailer, it looks intriguing, and I don't know too much about it, but he always does good stuff, so I hope to see that in the theater when it comes out, if and when it comes out. The new Mulan looks kind of cool. I always like the original Mulan by Disney, but it'll be much darker and grittier. No music performances in this one this time, but it looks well done, so I'm looking forward to that. Oh, and then Hamilton the musical premieres on Disney Channel on July 5th. That's just a few days away. I can't wait to watch that. That's I know what it's about, but I have never listened to the songs. Everybody who's involved in any kind of musical theater have seen musicals and have seen that, just talk about how great it is. And so I'm looking forward to seeing what it's all about. Definitely to watch this. Can finally be part of the conversation, because anytime someone brings it up, I'm like, hey, I don't know, I haven't heard it, I haven't seen it. Yeah, it's great, it's awesome, it's the most musical of all time. So I can finally see it and check it out. What do I think of Michael Keaton coming back as Batman? What, is that a thing? Michael Keaton coming back as Batman? Are you just throwing that out hypothetically, or is there actually truth to that? That would be wild. I mean, he's got an old man Batman, like Grandpa Batman. I did enjoy the first one. It was a weird choice at the time, but I did like it. And of course, that was a resurgence. That was the first time we saw Batman in a cool light, and not the Adam West Batman wearing the tights that. There we go. Having some connectivity issues. Not sure if I'm live. I think I'm back on. Zodiac. We guys watched Zodiac 2. Danto, Chip Gamer. Yeah, enjoyed that. That was cool. They were fine with that one. So I'm realizing my kids have a much greater tolerance for horror movies. I'm tempted, besides the one I did, to seeing if they could handle the likes of some of my favorite classics like The Exorcist. I mean, that, to me, that's one of the scariest of all time, but hard to know how kids from this era respond, because the 70s horror, that stuff has a different pace, a different sound, a different feel. To me, it adds to the creepiness when it has that 70s vibe. But I think nowadays, kids' attention span for slow-paced movies that really slow boil and build up to things, not as much patience. It's almost like they need to get going. They just need to get into it. And I think movies that take a longer time to develop character building and story backstory. My Vanessa, my youngest, she gets a hard time waiting for that to happen. She just wants it to get going. And movies like The Exorcist are really slow, and it takes a while before they get to the good stuff. They just watched It Part 2. They've seen both of them, actually. I haven't even seen the second one yet. They watched it by themselves. They were more laughing than they were being scared. So again, I think their tolerance for scary movies is definitely increased. What else? I want to show them some other movies with twists in them, like Usual Suspects and Identity. Those are a couple of my favorites. A couple of inspirations that I had when writing our own movie. Let's see, what other good one? Great twist. Awesome twist. I love that. Probably there's some mature parents are more than we want to convince ourselves as. So anything we think, oh, don't look at this is not appropriate, they're probably like, I've seen it all already. Coming to America, actually, that's what my wife actually brought up while we were watching Bourne Identity. And because there's a character there, it reminded her of Eddie Murphy. She said, oh, that'd be a good movie, we should see it, Coming to America. And I thought, oh, that's a great one, because Coming to America, that was a John Landis film, I believe. And again, that's for me, that's like early college years when that came out. But that's a great, fun movie. I think universally has appeal. So I might have to pull that one out. That's a good one. That's got some good, solid, pretty timeless gags in it. Let's see, what else have we seen lately? I'm trying to think here. Showed them Aliens. I didn't bother showing them Alien, because Alien, while it's good, it's kind of like Star Wars. Aliens compared to Alien is like Star Wars compared to 2001: A Space Odyssey. You know, you got one that's Alien was great, again, slower, one monster, more of like a slasher horror almost, with one alien creature, but it's definitely slow paced. Got great moments, but I don't know if my kids could yes, definitely my youngest would struggle to be patient enough to watch through that one. Aliens 2, though, I mean, or just Aliens, that was still one of my favorite. This thing sucks. This thing keeps dipping down. One of my favorite, still to date, definitely favorite Alien movie of all time. But still, as a monster movie, perfect combination of sci-fi, horror, action. I mean, it's up there with, probably the greatest, next to the movie The Thing from 1982, one of the greatest movies that feature a blowtorch. I mean, a flamethrower. I mean, they're just burning everything in there. It's awesome. You don't see enough flamethrowers these days in movies. Torch and everything. I don't know how they did that. How do you just throw fuel into a set and just start lighting everything on fire? It's just crazy. But I love it. Love that movie. Some cheesy effects. They pointed that out. They're quick to point out that when the effects look pretty cheesy, but it has a good comedy in there too. With what's his name? Yeah, game over, man. Game over. They loved him. Bill Paxton. He was funny, man. He's the whiny guy in Aliens. They had a good kick out of him. So that was good. What else we watched? We rewatched The Art of Racing in the Rain. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. My youngest loves dogs, so anytime it's a dog movie, she's all in. So we watched Marley and Me. We've seen all the Dog's Purpose types of movies, which are cute. I like them too. I was thinking about showing them another great racing movie, which is Ford versus Ferrari. I just don't know if it'll fly. Essentially, Ford versus Ferrari is like Art of Racing in the Rain minus the dog. Just my daughter's favorite part. So it'd be like taking your favorite thing out of a movie and then just leave it with the racing. I don't think she'd be too entertained. But great story. Love the sound effects. Watched it in Dolby Theater when it came out. So that's kind of a super big, great screen, high contrast, deep blacks, super loud volume, but it's not irritating loud, just full. The subwoofer in your chair, so the chair shakes every time the bass rumbles. So I had a great viewing experience with that movie. So that was good. Just don't know if I'll show my kids that one. What else? Oh, showed them Remember the Titans. Great football film. Great music. I've used that theme, Trevor Rabin's score for that, in so many highlight videos and other things for my girls' volleyball teams and other sports stuff. Even some of my YouTube videos, I used the Remember the Titans theme the first time I posted the tip where we won the NFC Championship against the 49ers. Great theme, one of the best music scores for a sports film for sure. And yeah, they love that one. So maybe hopeful that we'll be able to watch some other good sports movies. Never thought they'd really get into that, but that was a good one. What else? It's interesting. You definitely see that point at which movies, when they jump into there's a big separation between the good quality movies when it comes to just picture and sound mixing. You can hear the vibrance. And when you start getting into the 80s and definitely the 70s, how much that disappears. A few movies like Raiders of the Lost Ark, the Indiana Jones series, they had great sound, exceptional sound for movies of that time, but that's early 80s and 1981. A few movies hit that level of just dynamics that other films, nowadays pretty much every movie sounds great. But back then, most of it was kind of thin and bass wasn't really there. A few movies like Raiders did have that. I'm just like a couple minutes away from my house. I'm gonna wrap this up soon. We showed them The Shining. Oh, I've got a Blu-ray copy of that. Again, one of my favorite horror movies of all time. Definitely in the top 5. Problem is the pacing. That is a really slow paced movie. As you know, it's Stanley Kubrick. Everything he does is kind of slow and methodical and not rushed. And I just don't know if my girls would. Again, I say my girls, mostly my youngest one, would have the patience to get through that movie because it's so slow till it gets good, and it's a different time period. But I would love to show them that. And then there was the follow-up that just came out last year, 2 years ago. What was it called? The sequel to The Shining. Forgot the name of it. Forgot the name of that freaking movie. I watched it. It was okay. Didn't like the ending. You know what I'm talking about? West Side Story. Oh, that's a good musical for sure. I need to recheck out. It's been a long time since I've seen that one. Evil Dead. Evil Dead 2 is one of my favorite horror movies of all time. I'd have to definitely be in the right mindset. It has to be the right time for them to watch that. That's just zany, wacky stuff. I gotta go. I'm back. Got some things to run to. Got girls beach volleyball today. Actually, get back into it. So that is it, guys. Just want to share a few moments. Thank you for adding to the list here on movies to watch and what you've seen. Keep it going. I love the ideas because sometimes we're just stuck trying to figure out something to watch, and sometimes it's one to pop up like, oh, that's a great one. So anyway, take care, you guys. Good to chat with you. We'll talk to you guys definitely on Wednesday, if not sooner. Wednesday at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time for the next trivia and collaboration with my buddies Calvin and Noah, and hopefully Seahawks Martin will be back. All right, take care, guys. Have a great week. Go Hawks.